Alexander Grant, a 45-year-old widowed millionaire whose name had long been etched into the world of finance and philanthropy, had once believed that his wealth could shield him from life's cruelties, but nothing prepared him for the heartbreak of losing his beloved wife Clara after the birth of their twin babies, Emma and Ethan. And though his mansion stood tall on the rolling hills outside the city, filled with rare art, glittering chandeliers, and a staff that obeyed his every command, it echoed with an emptiness that no riches could fill, and in the midst of his grief he had retreated into work, locking himself away in his study with contracts and reports until the cries of his children reached him like faint reminders of what truly mattered, yet he could never hold them long without feeling the piercing absence of Clara. So when his sister insisted he hire a nanny to bring warmth and stability into the children's lives, Alexander reluctantly agreed, scanning resumes of highly qualified women who all seemed too polished, too perfect, too far removed from the simple tenderness his twins needed, until one rainy morning a young woman named Isabella knocked at the grand oak door, not with a chauffeur or a polished resume, but with a small leather bag, modest clothes, and eyes that carried both gentleness and hidden sorrow. And when she introduced herself as someone who had grown up in the countryside raising her siblings after her parents' untimely passing, Alexander felt an unusual stillness, as if fate itself had paused, and though his logical mind told him she lacked the experience of professionals, something about the way Emma immediately reached for her and Ethan's tears quieted in her embrace convinced him to take a chance. Story continues in this uninterrupted style, depicting Isabella's struggles, Alexander's growing curiosity, the children bonding with her in natural ways, her humble methods like bathing the twins in a wooden barrel she requested for their garden play, Alexander watching unexpectedly from a distance, feeling a warmth he hadn't felt since Clara's death, leading to unspoken admiration and respect, and the slow realization that beneath her simplicity lay resilience and a heart capable of healing his broken world. Chapter 1 builds to the moment when Alexander first catches himself lingering too long as Isabella tends to the children, his emotions conflicted between grief and something dangerously close to hope. Ends with a subtle cliffhanger, Isabella singing softly to the twins as Alexander wonders if love could find him again. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into months, and the mansion that once felt like a monument to loss slowly transformed into a living home filled with laughter and the scent of freshly baked bread, for Isabella brought not only care but also spirit into the household. Decorating small corners with flowers from the garden, telling Emma and Ethan bedtime stories that made their imaginations soar, and even daring to speak to Alexander in ways no one else did, sometimes gently scolding him when he worked late into the night, sometimes encouraging him to eat at the same table with his children instead of alone in his study, and though he resisted at first, a strange comfort grew in those shared meals where Isabella's laughter mixed with the innocent giggles of the twins, and Alexander, who had once thought himself immune to joy, began noticing the subtle radiance of her presence. The way she hummed while folding clothes, the patience in her hands as she taught the twins to walk, the light in her eyes when she spoke of dreams she had buried for others, and one summer afternoon when Alexander stepped quietly into the garden only to see Isabella bathing the twins in a wooden barrel filled with warm water, their tiny hands splashing with glee as sunlight danced upon the scene, he was struck still, because in that humble moment he saw not just a nanny caring for children but a woman whose heart embraced them as her own, and for the first time since Clara's death his grief lifted enough for him to imagine a tomorrow built not on wealth but on love. Story continues in uninterrupted flow. Conflict arises when rumors among high society friends challenge Alexander's judgment, questioning why a millionaire would attach himself to someone of such simple background. Isabella herself struggles with feelings of unworthiness, fearing she could never fill the void of Clara in Alexander's heart, yet Alexander reassures her through actions rather than words, showing up when she least expects, defending her dignity, and allowing the children's love for her to become undeniable evidence of her place in their lives. Climactic confrontation where Alexander rejects shallow expectations of the elite world he once obeyed, openly acknowledging his feelings for Isabella. Not only to her but also in front of his children, and in their innocent acceptance, Isabella finds the courage to accept his love. The story concludes with a heartfelt union, Alexander finally free from grief, the twins thriving with the motherly love they had craved, and Isabella realizing that her simple devotion had rewritten the destiny of a family that once seemed lost to sorrow. Closing lines directly address viewers, reminding them that love often hides in unexpected places, and if this story touched their hearts, they should subscribe to never miss another tale of hope, resilience, and love's power to heal broken souls.